Razavan for FightHype.com with me. I've got my man, Odie. Needs no introduction whatsoever. What's happening, Ohara?
Nothing much. Just had my last spar off camp just done. I had a really tough one. It's been a hard week, but I'm glad this week's done now. I've had a long camp and I'm just ready to fight now. I just can't wait to get it done and over with.
I spoke to you many weeks ago and you've always said to me you hate camp.
Yeah.
It's annoying, it's frustrating, the sparring, the not being able to eat what you want. This fight is potentially your biggest test, but how has it all been? Have you done anything differently this time?
This camp will be my biggest test. I've done a lot differently. It's my second time fighting a southpaw in my whole boxing career. I've had to get southpaw sparring partners. Everything's been a lot more intense. Every camp, every fight I have, the intensity rises. So for this camp, the intensity has risen a lot more than it did in my last camp. And it's a lot on the mind, you know, having to diet right, get up early, train, do what the coach says. You have to isolate yourself from the whole world while you're in camp. And that's basically what I've done. So my last bar's done. I feel like I've done all the work. I've done everything I was told to do. Went to bed when I was meant to go to bed. Ate what I was given to eat. Woke up when I was meant to wake up. Sparred all the rounds I was meant to spar, done the runs. I never complained, I never moaned. I might not enjoy it, but I never complained, and I get the work done. So I deserve the victory in this fight.
You've done 15 rounds of sparring today at the Matchroom gym. How do you physically feel now?
Physically right now, my body's a bit aching because I've had a long week this week. I've had a really tough week. During the weekend, I'm going to stretch, get a few massages. By the time Monday, Tuesday comes, I'll be feeling fresh, better than ever, just ready to go in there and do the business on this clown.
Many months ago you were very vocal on Twitter with Josh Taylor. You ended up fighting Derry Matthews. Finally this fight is being made. Do you feel like both of you are undefeated, both of you have great potential to go and do great things, but do you think you could have let this rivalry build a little bit more?
Yeah, we could have let it build a lot more, but I feel like in boxing it's about giving the fans what they want to see. Why would I continue fighting bums for the next 3 or 4 or 5 fights when I could fight him now? Because that's what the fans want. And I feel like if the fans want that fight now, why can't we give them that fight now? I feel like in boxing a lot of people try to protect themselves. Yeah, you might fight a few journeymen, a few bums in your first few fights, but once you've had over 10 or 11 fights, it's time to step up and, you know, fight the best out there. If you believe that you're the best, and I believe that I've got it in me to be the best, I believe that I can beat any of these guys. So I feel like, why can't I test myself? Obviously, the fight would make more financial sense if you waited 3 or 4 fights down the line, but it also makes financial sense now. It makes really good financial sense now. So, you know, I just believe that it's about taking risks, and it's a risk that I'm willing to take.
I don't want to obviously disclose what the purses are, but we know what Eddie had offered Josh Taylor to fight you on a Matchroom card. They went back and they came back with a bigger offer, an offer which Eddie said, I couldn't let Ohara refuse that. So how much of an impact is it going to be that you're going to be fighting on their show, their town, their venue, their crowd? Even
though it's on their show, it's in their hometown, I'm coming out first, even though I'm higher ranked than him, I'm more known, I'm the main attraction for this fight. But I don't mind. I don't mind being an underdog. I'm the underdog in the bookies. I don't mind because I fought Derry Matthews at the O2. I got booed in my own hometown. So I've got no issue going over to his hometown and get booed.
Was that because of Derry Matthews or was that because of the Undertaker music?
Because of Derry Matthews. Also because of how I was acting. I was a bit arrogant for that camp, and it's what the fans didn't like. But I did get booed in, but I got booed into that fight and I was okay. You know, all that matters is what happens in that ring. And the ring could be in London, could be in Essex, could be in Glasgow. I feel like a boxing ring is a boxing ring, and I can perform well under those lights, regardless of where it is.
Alright, talk about this personality of yours, isn't it? Everyone has different elements of personality. Even Anthony Joshua has said in the past, everyone says to him that when people give it to you, John Brazil, Dylan White gave it to him, you remain calm. And Anthony Joshua's response was, well, I've got it in me, and it's going to take someone to take that, will get me to a certain limit where I give it back as well. We saw you at the Derry Matthews whole build up. I was in Liverpool, and probably the most entertaining press conferences I've been to. But you've been a little bit more mellow, and a bit more calm this time around.
I think for this fight, it's just how I feel. I don't feel like being arrogant, being loud, talking much for this camp. And every day I wake up, I feel different. You know, I might wake up another day and just feel like being arrogant again and start cussing everyone. I just go by how I feel. The good thing about being a fighter, you get to express yourself. You get to be yourself. And you know, just because I felt different for that camp than I do for this camp, doesn't mean I haven't been working. And I feel like, what's the word where people change every day, where they've got a split personality? What is it, bipolar, I think, or something like that? Yeah. That's what I could have, I don't know. But every day I wake up, I feel different. I just go by how I feel. And for this camp, I just felt like even when he tried to take off my sunglasses, you know, it didn't really affect me. If that was my last camp, I would have been going crazy. But it's just I just don't feel I need to do that now. I feel like back then I was, you know, when you're young, you're just happy to be on a big stage and you're just happy and you're so excited about being there. But I've done it now. I've done it time after time. So, you know, I'm a lot more mature now.
So you had the press conference in Scotland, you then went to the airport, and there was some sort of altercation between Josh Taylor, I think Shane was there, Barry I think as well. What happened?
Shane and Barry came up to me and they was like, why are you not trying to sell our show? And I was like, what do you mean, why am I not trying to sell your show? They was like, oh, for the Dave Matthews fight, you were so arrogant and you were so talkative for this camp, why are you not trying to sell our show? And I was like, I'm just being me. I'm just being how I feel. If that wasn't a matchroom card, I would act the same way. Because it's not about trying to sell a show, it's about being yourself. And if being myself doesn't sell a show, I'm not trying to be someone fake. And so they was more angry that I wasn't trying to sell their show or something like that. And you know, they tried to start a whole argument with me because of it. But it seemed like it really got under their skin, and I don't know how I'm getting under their skin by just being me, but something about me is just annoying them. But you know, it's not my problem.
I spoke to David Hay, and David Hay rates you very highly, and I know you look up to David as well. Obviously, Josh was a stablemate of David before he left the McGregors, and David rates Josh as well very highly and said you two both should fight each other when you're world champions, or at least British European level. Josh Taylor as a fighter, would you say is the toughest test?
Definitely, most definitely. I've been watching the fight. I see a few holes in there, but you know, he's a good fighter. He is a lot better than anyone else I fought. Just like I'm a lot better than anyone else he's fought. But that's why it's a test. Me as a warrior, as a fighter, having a fighter's heart, I'm willing to take that risk and to test myself. And him, he's got that same fighter's heart, and he wants to test himself. No matter how confident I am, and no matter how much I go around saying I'm gonna knock this. It don't matter how much times I go around saying, "Oh, I'm gonna knock out this guy." No matter how much time he goes around saying that he's gonna knock me out, nothing's 100%. I could get beat, he could get beat, you know, and that's just it. I'm gonna be the hardest fight he's had, and he's gonna be the hardest fight I've had.
And then the helicopter arriving at the HQ.
Yeah.
I've always asked boxers about VO. You're undefeated, Josh Taylor's undefeated. You see a lot of boxers that don't like risking it, and I'm not going to name any fighters, but they go in their 20s and their 30s before they take that real challenge. How important is that O to you in your career? Obviously it's important that you would like to stay undefeated, but with all the talent in boxing, sometimes it's difficult because when you fight the best, you might take a loss. And it doesn't mean that it's the end of your career, it's just a learning curve, you lost the fight. But how important to you is that O?
I feel like it's a mind thing. A lot of fighters, they're afraid to lose their O. And I feel like, everyone's afraid to lose their O. I'm afraid to lose my O, which is why I'm trying to work so hard so I can win these fights. I'm not trying to avoid these guys, because the longer you, like, I feel like as fighters, we only earn depending on how big the fight is. So if you only want to fight bums, and you want to keep it all, you want to get 18-0, 19-0, 20-0, fighting no bums, you're not gonna get paid well for it. I feel like this game, even though it's about the O, every fighter has to earn, because boxing is our job. But even though I need to protect my O, I need to earn at the same time. And if to earn money means I've got to put the O on the line, there's a risk that I'm willing to take. Because the O's in the bank are more important than the O on your boxing record. So I feel like it's all about how many O's you've got in your bank, and if a fight makes financial sense, regardless of if it's a hard fight, take that fight. Because having an O in your record isn't going to put food on your plate. Having O's in the bank will. So with me, it's all about having O's in the bank, and how you market yourself as a fighter. And I believe even if you have taken a few losses, as long as you know how to market yourself, you've got a good team behind you, and you work hard, the sky's the limit. And I feel like a lot of fighters are trying to protect their O. That just means that they're not going to have any O's in the bank, unfortunately. We've
seen sometimes fighters when they take that first loss, they take a long time to get back into the game again because they take a break. I wouldn't say it's depression, but they mentally find it hard to cope with. Do you yourself mentally prepare yourself ready that potentially you could take a loss in the future? And
I've never lost before, so I don't really know how I would handle it. But how I think I would handle it is, I think I'd take a few weeks off, come back to Tony, to Eddie, and say, get me a fight, tell me how much I'm getting paid. And if I'm getting paid good, get straight back in the gym and start working for it. Because at the end of the day, it's just business. It's just business. And even though you lose, doesn't mean you can't make a comeback. Doesn't mean there aren't any bigger fights. Doesn't mean you still can't earn. There's still big money fights out there. You know, we see fighters out there that have beat a few times. Amir Khan has been beat a few times. He's still making a lot of money. Adrian Broner has been beat a few times. He's still making mega money. Everyone wants to be Floyd. Not everyone can be Floyd. I mean, not everyone can be Floyd. Even though everyone wants to be him, I want to be like him in terms of having his own, how much money he's earned. Not everyone can be Floyd, so I feel like everyone's just got to walk their own path. You might take a few losses here and there, but that's life. In life, you take a few losses in life. Floyd's taken a few L's in life. You know, with like all the lawyer fees. You know, when he went to jail, he spent millions of pounds on the lawyers, which then didn't work for him. So everyone takes L's. Even though Floyd hasn't lost in the ring, he has taken a few L's outside of the boxing ring. And I feel like it's just life. It's just life, and yeah, that's what I think.
Today's Friday. I think your last bar is done now. I believe you're travelling to Scotland on Wednesday. Public workout, press conference, and then weigh-in.
Ohara,
how
you doing, son? Have you been interviewed? Sorry, sorry, am I interrupting?
No problem at all. I did it. So in terms of now, how do you kind of wind down and relax up until fight night?
This is the tough part, to be honest. The last week you got a diet. Well, today I was only 10.2, so I've only got to lose 2 pounds, so my weight's fine. But just maintaining that is hard. Maintaining that is hard, and then just mentally preparing myself to know 8 days from now I'm going to be in the ring fighting. 9 days from now I'm going to know whether I won or lost the fight. And it's just trying to keep your mind occupied. And what I try to do, I think this week I'm going to go to the cinema as much as I can, spend as much time doing fun stuff, going out to Top Golf with my friends to keep my mind off the fight as much as I can. The second you sit in your own room and you start thinking about stuff that you've got no control over. I've got no control right now over what's going to happen in 8 days time when I step in that ring. So I'm just trying to keep my mind off it. When it's time to train, I train for the fight. When I'm not in the gym, do anything to keep your mind off it, because otherwise you just send yourself crazy.
Saturday night when you come face off with Josh Taylor in that ring, when it's just you two, how is this fight going to end?
Hopefully I win. Hopefully I win by KO. I don't see this fight going the distance. Either he goes or I go. I'm not doing 12 rounds. I've done 12 rounds when I fought Scarpa. I said I ain't doing it again. I'm not doing 12 rounds. If I have to do 12 rounds, I've been sparring a lot more than 12 rounds. But in a fight, I don't want to have a 12 round fight again. These fights ending early. Either they're going or I'm going, but someone's going. Someone's going.
Well, we wish you all the best for your fight on Saturday.